All right, it's Friday, and figured I'd stop in and do a little live stream here, talk about a few things. So, sad note, Carl Weathers has passed away, and yeah, that was right before I was going to go live. I was going to just do some talk about Soulfinder. I was going to talk about some political stories. I was just about to hit the go live button on StreamYard here, and then I saw that Carl Weathers passed, and I was like, oh crap, man, that's my youth right there. It's Apollo Creed, that's Dylan, Rocky, the Rocky movies, Predator, Action Jackson, obviously in recent times, The Mandalorian. Some people bring up Happy Gilmore, Chubbs. But for me, Carl Weathers will always be Apollo Creed, and the "There is no tomorrow." That is like one of the greatest scenes ever. Totally affected, like I said, it's embedded in my brain. The Apollo character in that particular scene. That there is no tomorrow. Tomorrow is never promised. You can't make excuses because you don't know what tomorrow is going to bring. If you don't prepare today, right now, right here, you're not going to be prepared for what you face, the storm that you face tomorrow. So you can't waste time, and you got to put it all on the line. So yeah, so I don't know. I've just been like really sad. I've been talking to my brothers, talking to my friend who's like a big Rocky fan when I was living in Washington, D.C., and I worked in the gym, Jacobs Fitness Center. And it was like me and my buddy, and we would just talk about like 80s movies and Predator and obviously Rocky, Jean-Claude Van Damme movies, Arnold movies, all that sort of stuff. And so I've just been talking to some bros today about Carl Weathers. So yeah, I don't know. The next one, there's like a few characters that when they pass away, like it just I don't know, it just kind of jars you. So like when Sylvester Stallone dies, whenever that is, that's going to be another one where you're like, dude, that was seriously like my youth, totally shaped by Sly movies, Arnold, like I said, blood sport, Jean-Claude Van Damme sort of thing. So when JCVD passes away, it's going to be sad. And yeah. So anyway, got to pray for the repose of the soul of Carl Weathers. I saw that he passed away peacefully in his sleep. So, if you're going to go, as far as I know, I don't think he had any sort of cancers or anything. So I don't know, just a very weird vibe today. I wasn't expecting that one. Story time with friends. Thanks for tuning in, Bianca. Thanks for tuning in. Appreciate it. So yeah, I could return to Carl at some point in time, but yeah, if you never saw Rocky 3 in particular, I mean they're all good. They're the Rocky movies. Maybe not 5. I'm not really a huge fan of 5. But Rocky 1, 2, 3, great flicks. Obviously, Rocky 4 is more of a they get a little bit more cartoonish or ridiculous as time goes on. But Rocky 3, great movie. So anyway, Carl Weathers, thank you for the memories. Thank you for the classic characters. Really appreciate it, man. And I don't know, just really sad that you're gone already. So all right, let's see. I was going to talk about some Soulfinder stuff, and then just go into E.G. Jean Carroll, the Biden boom that's on Twitter, scooter bandits in New York City. So those are the political stories that have been interesting to me over the past few days. And I don't know. I think then we'll just call it a day after that. But Soulfinder news. All right. I don't think I've shown off this Matt Weldon page before, but long story short, the covers are all done. So I have like my name, Matt's name, Rodrigo's, and Bill's all on the cover. I got Soulfinder on the cover. I got it formatted for the printer so they know where the spine, you have to have certain things so it doesn't your cover doesn't start going into the spine, and that has to be formatted correctly. I got my barcodes. My barcodes are on for the soft cover versions. The main one with Rodrigo's cover, and then Dave Dorman has a limited variant this time around. I don't know. I think I'll do like I'll have to get with the printer, but I think I'll probably do like 100, maybe 150 Dave Dormans, and then like 1,100 of Rodrigo's. When you see Rodrigo's cover, you'll see why that is the main cover this time around. Somebody was asking me earlier, they're like, oh, is it like really hard to kind of, pick which one? And I was like, it's only hard if you thought that somebody might feel slighted that theirs was not the main cover or something like that. But most of the people I work with, they don't really think along those lines that I know of. And to me, you just have to go with the best cover. And as much as I respect Dave, and Dave's awesome, and Dave's a legend, when I saw Rodrigo's cover, I was like, this is the cover. This is it. And when I showed it to Tim, he was like, that has to be a cover as well. So I was like, okay, Tim's on the same page. Tim's very good with this sort of stuff. And the thing is, Rodrigo, being our colorist, he read the entire script. He did the color work for everything. So he was intimately involved in the project. And so when he came up with ideas for a front and back cover, it actually wasn't initially even going to be a front and back cover. He was just like, hey, do you mind if I contribute something? And I was like, that'd be awesome. Yeah, give it a go, dude. And we turned it in, and I was like, this has to be a cover. So he just knew the story at a level where I think with Dave, I just had to give him a summary of the story and then give him sort of a box and say, work within this box and do your thing. I'm not going to try and micromanage Dave Dorman. That would be strange. And he doesn't even have to take certain jobs if he doesn't want to. He could tell me to get lost. So I'm like, I'm going to just basically give Dave a lot of leeway. But Rodrigo, having actually read the story, he really, really knew what image would capture the tone of Soulfinder Volume 4 and just did a great job. So anyway, the front cover is already on Patreon, so I have a small number of patrons, and they have seen it first before anybody else, and it'll eventually work its way online. And then sometimes I do show people little glimpses here and there of stuff, and I have shown people the front cover, but that I don't do as much. Interestingly enough, nobody has ever leaked anything. Anything I've ever shown anyone on Twitter, they've never pulled a fast one on me and just like randomly tweeted it out, or it didn't show up somewhere else soon afterwards. They were just like, no, man, I'll keep it. I'm not going to, mess with this. So I appreciate that. If I've ever shown you something in confidence and say like, hey, keep this under wraps, I'll tweet it out in a couple days or a week or something like that. But I just wanted to give you a heads up since you've been a reader for a long time and you've been super cool with promoting the books, and you've just been like a nice dude or whatever. So that's been cool. And I like being able to do that under the radar, kind of like showing people and readers stuff, and they get excited about it. And so it's fun. So anyway, so that's that. And if you backed the Black Ops Volume 6 campaign, the crossover campaign, all of that stuff is going out right now. All the merch, the hard, the actual physical books are going out. So be on the lookout for that. Be on the lookout for links from Iconic Comics with your tracking number and all that sort of stuff. So this was a mock-up. So this has changed. It's actually Ernst, Weldon, Aviles, Williams. But this is the very bottom of the cover, so you could kind of see the nature and the vibe that it'll be giving. But anyway, there's characters from the story that are above this, and you'll see in the very near future. I will put it up on Twitter and YouTube and all that sort of stuff. So let me see. What did I want to say? I got the credits page, formatting. Oh yeah, that's what I was gonna say with Soulfinder. So initially, what I was going to do was I was going to launch the campaign before the books were printed, but now I'm thinking what I might do is get with a printer and make sure everything's good, and I might not even launch until books are uh, literally printed, at least like a first run. And then if for some reason I launched a campaign and I sold too many, then I could always do a second print. I was talking to Timothy Lim about that, and I thought that was a good idea. But for the most part, I don't think I will print too many because I know what I sell at shows every year, and I'm just going to order enough to where I could definitely sell at shows. And then if I were to sell out too many during the campaign, I wouldn't sell out. I would basically bleed into the show stuff, and the shows aren't until much later in the year, so I'd have plenty of time to print whatever I need, especially if it's like soft cover stuff. You could do that pretty easily. So I'm not too worried about it, but I want to get as much off my plate as possible. And I just don't want any question marks, and just take as much stress off the table as I can. Solid Halon, thanks for tuning in. Boom Her, thanks for tuning in. I appreciate it. So anyway, the books are on the way. They're going to be printed, or I should say, off to the printer in the very near future. So, all right, I got that off my plate, and now I guess pretty early on here we could talk about. Already talked about Carl Weathers. Go to some of the political stuff. And anything else that you bring up in the chat, I guess I could talk about that as well. If I sound weird, it's because my nose is always clogged and I'm having a hard time breathing right now. All right. Let's see. We want to talk about E.G. Carroll first or not? So if you're not familiar, let's see, Solid Halon, Doug, are you going to offer digital in the campaign? Yes, I will offer digital in the campaign for anybody that wants it. So that was the other thing I was debating initially, whether I wanted to just put it out on Amazon digital first, or if I just want to literally just wait into the campaign and then have it with it. But yeah, I will have digital with the campaign for sure. So if you don't want soft cover, if you don't want hardcover, you just want digital, you will be able to get digital, definitely. And then eventually it will go on to Amazon as well. And I still need to get my Japanese translations and my Spanish translations out there. They're done. I just didn't format it. I kind of wanted to time that and have that coincided with the campaign as well. So I'm just sitting on Soulfinder Demons Match Japanese translation done, but I haven't put it up online yet. So I wanted to get all of it, boom, at like one shot. Captain Cummings, thank you very much for tuning in. Appreciate that. So yeah, I am not hostile towards digital. I don't have a thing against digital. Some people don't like it for whatever reason. I think it's 2024, and if you don't do digital and you don't offer your books to people that want it in that format, I think you're just digging your heels in for no apparent reason, and you just seem kind of that's kind of weird to me. I personally like the physical books, and I like both the soft cover, like traditional comics I grew up with, but I also like the hardcover versions that you could put on your bookshelf, and you could see the spine. You could pull it out right away. Anyone who comes to your house can see it. They could pull it out, if whatever. And you know it's just going to last for a really long time. But I understand that people like digital, and it makes it easier to share. It makes it easier if people want to review it. So to me, a lot of the times when people are against digital, it almost seems like they're just kind of terrified of what will happen if people have the digital files. like what if they don't like the book? Then it's really easy to point out all the things that you don't like about the book. So, but I look at it like people are going to say what they're going to say, and all you can do is your best anyway. And if they don't like it, then you should probably figure out where the constructive criticism lies and then work to improve from there. But yes, it can be very embarrassing if you put digital books out there and then people didn't like it, and they didn't like it enough to like tear it to shreds. Like online ecosystems and environments and all of that sort of things, it can be ruthless. I understand that, definitely. So all right, let's see. E.G. Carroll. So if you're not familiar with that this was the lady that accused Trump decades ago. She accused Trump recently, but she says decades ago that somewhere she was on the streets of New York City and she saw billionaire Donald Trump and he saw her, and she doesn't know the year and she doesn't really know the month. She doesn't know the day. She just knows that she was in New York City decades ago around a kind of period, maybe a 2 or 3 year period. I don't know the exact time. But Donald Trump was so enamored with her that he kind of like ushered her into a department store on, I don't know, whatever, you know, the shopping district of New York City. And there she says that he raped her in the department store. And apparently she was wearing some sort of outfit. She did a magazine interview and said, this is the outfit that I was wearing at the time. But then people looked into it and they're like, well, that outfit didn't even come out until like years after you said you were even raped. Like even the very large time frame that you gave, this outfit came out like years later. What are you talking about? This is the lady that went on CNN with Anderson Cooper, and she was saying how she thought that she was talking about like rape fantasies and how a lot of people deep down inside, they really think it's sexy and all this sort of stuff. And then Anderson Cooper was like, all right, we're going to go to a commercial break. And right as they were going to the commercial break, she said something really, I can't remember you could look it up, E.G. Jean Carroll and Anderson Cooper. And she was like, I think you're fascinating. Like in this really creepy thing. And they're like, Anderson was just like, wow, this lady's crazy, man. And then they just went to a commercial break. Anyway, the courts ruled that they couldn't determine whether Donald Trump actually like raped her, well, because she literally didn't have any sort of evidence whatsoever other than, hey, you gotta believe me. But he was still found liable civilly for sexually assaulting her. Again, no evidence other than she just remembered that once upon a time this happened. And apparently it's happened again and again and again with multiple high-profile guys. They just keep throwing themselves, not just forcing themselves on this lady over the years, over and over and over again. Just everyone wants to sexually assault this woman. It's very strange. So he was found civilly liable for this, and then on his own social media, he was like, this lady is crazy. I don't even know what she's talking about. Like, this is absolutely nuts. Like, you're just saying that on a busy street in New York City, I was just walking by myself and I just ushered this lady in and I just like forced myself on her in a department store. What? Like in the middle of a department store? She's nuts. And then, then she sued him for defamation. And now she was awarded by this court. It'll probably be appealed. It will be appealed. $83 million. So even though there's no evidence whatsoever that this actually ever took place, she just comes out of the blue with this. And on top of that, apparently, her lawyer, let me see that this was Trump lawyer, says defense just learned that E.G. Carroll judge was once the mentor of Carroll's lawyer. So the judge and the lawyers and all of these people, they're all connected together. There's basically this network of political activists, lawyers, and judges, and they all agree with each other. And then the money man who's paying E.G. Jean Carroll, apparently he also is Ashley Biden's lawyer on top of that. So it's all this network of basically evil people that know that this is ridiculous, but the process itself is the punishment if you go against these people. So if your name is Donald Trump, it doesn't matter if it's true or not, they need to punish you. And the process is the punishment because they know that they can drag it out. They know that they could bleed you dry. They know that they could tax your health and they could just keep stringing it out over again and again and again, longer and longer and longer. And because they're all sort of a network, they know that they're not going to really pay any price for it. And really, there's a chance, as has already been demonstrated, that they might even get away with it. So there is no incentive amongst these people who are corrupt to actually do the right thing to begin with. There's an incentive to do the wrong thing, to hurt people that politically oppose you and your friends. So after this lady was awarded $83 million initially, again, it'll be appealed and it'll go up. They know that it's going to be appealed and they know that they will most likely lose, but the character assassination and the smear campaigns, they're hoping it does enough with stupid people over time who'll be like, I don't know, a court ruled that why would a court award a woman $83 million if it wasn't true? It must be true because Anderson Cooper and Rachel Maddow said that it must be true. So it must be. So this lady also, as soon as she was awarded $83 million by this court, she goes on MSNBC with Rachel Maddow and she started yucking it up. And she was yucking-a-roo, joking about going on a shopping spree with her money. She was going to lavish Rachel Maddow with gifts. And she was saying how, oh, do you want to go to France? Do you want to go fishing in France? So let me know. I'm going to blah, blah, blah. It's going to be a party. It's you and me and our friends. And we're all the Golden Girls. And, thank you for being a friend. The biggest gift would come from me, E. Jean Carroll, because I'm a millionaire, tens of millions of dollars. So the question by me and many, many other people are, does this sound like a woman that was actually raped? Because if you were, why would the first thing you do after a court rules in your favor, why would you run to a cable news show with political activists and start laughing and joking and popping champagne and just having a grand old time and we got him. It sounds like if you're doing the we got him sort of thing, it sounds like you just wanted to get him. It did. Somebody who was hurt mentally and physically, somebody who was abused, if justice was served, true justice was served, what you would do afterwards is you would be like, I'm just glad that justice was served, and I want to make sure that this sort of thing never happens to a woman again. And you would be very serious. And then you would probably just fade off into obscurity, and you would go off and you would start doing your thing. What you wouldn't do is be all smiling and glowing. We're going to Paris. We're going fishing. You want some wine? We're the wine ladies. We're all going to drink our wine. We're going to get drunk. Yeah. That's what we're going to do. Donald Trump lost. So, yeah. Doesn't sound to me like a woman who was actually raped at all. It sounds like a total psychopath who knew that if she just said and did the right things, that well-connected, wealthy, affluent people would be like, hey, if you're willing to do this, if you have no functioning moral compass, if you will lie about this guy, we will give you the funds that you need to take him to court and hurt him again and again and again. And it doesn't matter if we're lying or not, because the ends justify the means. Donald Trump is Hitler. And if you had a chance to accuse Hitler of rape and have him convicted of rape, wouldn't you do it if that would save the world? from World War II. Wouldn't you do that, E. Jean Carroll? What's a little lie? What's a little false rape accusation if you could stop Hitler? We got to stop Hitler. Yeah, he's so much of a Hitler that he just sort of like walked away after he lost. And you could say all you want that January 6th was actually, speaking of that, we'll get into that as well, was this quote unquote insurrection, when all of the evidence that has slowly but surely drip come out has shown that that narrative was completely a lie. There was so many fabrications on the fault of the federal government that they wanted to turn it into something that it wasn't. When really it was just a lot of people that were mad that we live in a deeply, seriously corrupt society. And then it's like, oh, here we go. Things historically do not end well when the institutional pillars that hold up civil society become corrupted and people who care about truth and justice have no recourse for obtaining it. So I've seen people online where they're all like, oh, it doesn't, Donald Trump, we got him. Yeah, moron, let me explain this to you. If we're in a situation where things are so bad and so corrupt and so dishonest that they will do this to a man who was the president of the United States, do you really not think that you'd be able to escape this sort of stuff? Do you think that they would not apply this sort of quote unquote justice to you and to millions of Americans? If they could get away with it with Donald Trump, they will do it again and again and again. They will crush anybody who they remotely think poses a threat to them. And some people who don't pose a threat, who they just are like, you know what? I don't like you. And I think you could be a threat years down the line. And therefore, I got to take you out now. In fact, that tying that into Soulfinder, the Detective Chua story that I'm currently working on is about just that sort of thing. It's about, in many respects, a political dynasty that wanted to take out threats to said dynasty. And the dynasty came to power through corrupt and evil means, and they wanted to stay at the top of the hierarchy over the course of generations. And they actually did that. But how did they do it? They did it by demonically and by evil means, taking out who they thought was a threat to their power and their influence and their money and their bank accounts and their high profile lawyers. So anyway, again, spoiler for the people that are tuning in right now. That is going to be the Detective Chua story about power and people who want to hold on to it by any means necessary, and the lengths that they will go to. And the quote unquote little people, or just the ordinary Americans, who they will put the boot on your neck to make sure that you are not a threat. Maybe years down the road, they can see that you are a good person today, and they can see the trajectory of your life and where it will take you if you continue to be a good man or a good woman over the course of many years and decades and that sort of thing. They're like, we see the seeds have been planted today. This is a good man. And this good man, one day, he's going to grow into a mighty oak of virtue, and he's going to take us down. The oak tree is actually going to chop down the corrupt politicians, the corrupt individuals. The oak tree of virtue is going to chop down evil lumberjacks, cultural lumberjacks, or something. I don't even know what, go in all sorts of weird directions, but you get what I'm trying to say. So these are the kind of things that interest me, and I want to talk about them today because I can't stand it that there are people who are on their quote unquote tribe are Democrats, and they don't care what happens to somebody else because they think that those tactics will never be used against them. It's like, no, dude, if you cheer corruption, if you cheer tyranny because your guy is the dictator, your guy is the tyrant, and he's going after people that you don't like, one day on a long enough timeline, it's going to boomerang back on you, and it'll be too late then, because all the people that would have defended you, the people that would have stood up to this, you watched as they got sliced and diced and kneecapped by tyrants. So you're creating the situation. You think it's funny today? It's not funny. I don't care if you're a Republican or a Democrat. You don't want people abusing power to go after political enemies. It's insane for you to cheer that sort of thing on. It's extremely myopic, and you're a doofus. You're an idiot. You're a moron. That's the nicest way I could put it if you're cheering on tyrannical measures used against political opponents. So, all right. So E. Jean Carroll can't have a functioning civil society when truth is the enemy. These sorts of things end badly. Speaking of ending badly, scooter bandits. So that'll be not the smoothest transition to bad things, but it is bad. So this gets into the immigration stuff. So the sanctuary cities became sanctuaries for thieves. So all these people, these politicians, the people that support the E. Jean Carrolls of the world and President Biden's and all that sort of stuff, open up the floodgates, complete chaos at the border. You let all these people in. New York City mayor and others, hey, come here. Hey, come here. Hey, come here. And then their cities are flooded with literally criminals, people that are stealing scooters, obtaining scooters, and weirdly becoming scooter bandits. So, as I was saying, once upon a time, it was give me your poor, your tired, your huddled masses. I think it was yearning to be free or whatnot. And now it's give me your poor, your tired, your scooter bandits yearning to steal from the free. So they created this situation where you have all these people, and this was in the news the other day. There was a whole group of these thuggish individuals, migrants, illegal immigrants, who were just beating up cops. In New York City, those same guys, they released them like a day later, and they're all giving the middle finger to the press. They don't care, blah, blah. If your first act upon setting foot in the United States is to beat up law enforcement officials and to steal scooters and to steal from innocent people and free people, and then give the middle finger to the people that are like, hey, what's going on around here? They need to get you out of here. You need to go. And it shows you just how bizarre and corrupt and Twilight Zone-ish New York City is, that these individuals would just be let out without bail. They're like, okay, well, we don't, you know what? He had a really hard life. He had a really hard time getting here from South America, and he walked a long way. So you should be able to understand why he might be frustrated, and he might take out that frustration on cops or innocent people or grandma and grandpa, or, just people walking down, Times Square, trying to get a picture with whatever in the background. So we're going to let him out without bail, and you can just deal with it. Meanwhile, same city, New York City, not too long ago, there was the dude who was on the subway. He choked out a drug-addled psychopath who was abusing people, and then the guy that he choked out died. And then the book was thrown at that guy. So the hero on the subway train who chokes out somebody who is mentally ill or on drugs or whatever the heck's going on, who's threatening people and threatening to hurt people, he's scaring everybody on the subway. You choke that guy out and he happens to die. Well, we're going to throw the book at you because the guy you choked out, he doesn't look like you. And we're sorry. We know that you're a Marine veteran. You should have known that you were choking him out too long. And it almost seems like you tried to just murder the guy. Never mind the fact that he was threatening people on the train and everyone was in New York City. Like, it's There's all sorts of lawlessness issues in various parts of the city. Again, because we just let criminals out without bail. But yeah, we're going to throw the book at you. We're going to let the illegal immigrants who attack cops, we're going to let them out on bail. And hopefully they don't disappear. Maybe they'll just disappear and end up in San Francisco or Los Angeles or who knows where. But yeah, it's a very strange situation. Similarly, talking about justice that's all mixed up, you could go to Washington, D.C., and there was that story where the guys, the Senate staffer, the guy who was making, how do we say it, adult videos with other men in the Senate office building, and then that was posted all over the place. It leaked or it got whatever, that they were having all sorts of bizarro sex things in official office buildings. DC Capitol Police, we're not going to do anything to that guy, but if you walked into the Capitol on January 6th a couple years ago, even if you were let in by the Capitol Police at the time, and even if all you did was walk by the Ronald Reagan statue and be like, oh, interesting, even if the only thing that you did was put your foot up on Nancy Pelosi's desk, well, we're going to see if we could put you in jail for many, many, many years, sometimes over a decade. So making pornographic videos amongst Senate staffers having weird, sex stuff in official buildings, we're going to turn a blind eye to that. Not a big deal. Protesting a corrupt government, but doing it in a way where you're just kind of walking around the, you're not even like doing a whole lot. You're just looking at the paintings. You're in the rotunda area and you're laughing and you're giggling. Then you walk out. Again, you were let in by the Capitol Police. They literally, in some cases, open the door for you. Yeah, we're gonna make sure that you go to jail for a really, really long time. Very interesting. So, all right, what else we got here? I saw this trending right before I came on. Let's go to the chat again. Captain Cummings. Is that the woman that said it was great or something around those? E. Jean Carroll. Yeah, she was saying all sorts of really strange things about rape and sexual abuse. And if you go to her old tweets, you can find them online. They've been scrubbing those from the internet, but she said a lot of very strange, very bizarre things about sex and power and all sorts of stuff. Let's see. I want to go fishing in France and then get some fancy food. Captain Cummings, the Scooter Bandit does sound pretty tame. We need a more violent name. The Pooper Scooper Bandits. Yeah, I don't know. It is kind of weird that they're all using scooters, but apparently some of them use scooters for DoorDash. So maybe they're doing DoorDash sometimes, and then they're just randomly robbing people. I was thinking when I first saw the story, I was like, if Marvel Comics, if it was years and years and years ago, and this was happening in New York City, at some point in time, there would be a Marvel comic with Spider-Man where there's a scooter bandit and Spider-Man stops the scooter bandit. And then, of course, because Spider-Man has all sorts of witty quips, he would make some sort of quip about the scooter bandits. And maybe he might even kind of make a little joke here or there about the immigration sort of situation. But these days, there's no way on earth they would ever do that. We're not going to have the scooter bandit. You might have the scooter bandit, but it wouldn't be someone who is here illegally. It would just be some random New Yorker, and he would look very much like me. He would look very much like a German guy named Ernst, and he would be the scooter bandit. And Spider-Man would be aided by the illegal immigrants and migrants to take down scooter bandit Ernst. But I guess actually Marvel already has their Ernst villain in Moon Knight. Thank you, Max Bemis. Appreciate that. So they would have to pick another one. So maybe it would be Pellegrini. So Mark Pellegrini, the scooter bandit taken out by Spider-Man and the migrants in New York City. That's going to be a Marvel book in the near future. Speaking about the present, however, so I saw this, they're trying to push the Biden boom. The economy is just so awesome under Joe Biden. We're not going to talk about inflation whatsoever. And so this is something that I always see. Be careful of statistics. I've said before, when I was in a statistics class years and years ago, one of my professors said that if you torture statistics long enough, they will tell you anything you want to hear. So you could waterboard statistics and they will just sing like a canary. They will tell you whatever you want to hear. And so this guy, Bill Pascrell Jr., New Jersey's congressman representing the 9th district. All right, sure, dude. So this is what they do. President Biden, highest job creation for a president ever. Okay. So they have Clinton. Where's Obama? Blah, blah, blah. Oh, Bush, Trump. Now, here's the thing. What they do is, 412 million jobs created over the course of 3 years by Joe Biden or whatever. Oh, Donald Trump responsible for blah, blah, blah. All these 59 million jobs lost. Never mind the fact that there was a pandemic that happened. And during that pandemic, states like New York, states like California, and especially cities like Los Angeles, cities like San Francisco, cities like New York City, all of them controlled by Democrats, went out of their way to find ways to shut down everything. They killed all sorts of jobs. They killed all sorts of small businesses, and they destroyed the economy needlessly. They didn't need to do this, but they did it because they wanted to hurt, again, Donald Trump by any means necessary. They don't care. They knew that they could just blame it on other things. Oh, the virus, we have to do this. Never mind the fact that they lied about where it came from and the origins and all of that. But they went out of their way to destroy the economy. And then when the economy recovers, then they take credit for the thing that they destroyed. It's, again, completely sick and completely twisted. And I don't know. It's one of those things where I try to laugh about it, and you have to laugh so you don't cry, because these people are so dishonest and they will lie about anything because all they care about is power. It's a never-ending power struggle with these people, and they will do anything to hold on to it, even claim that Joe Biden was some sort of savior for the economy that they crashed. They are the ones that burned it all to the ground, and now that it's slowly recovering, they're taking credit for that. Edwin, thanks for tuning in. I appreciate it. So Bill Pascrell Jr., dude, you are so dishonest, and you look like Jack Kevorkian. Sorry to say that. I usually don't like to go that route, but a lot of times with these people, I don't know how to explain it, but they have a certain look to them. They look like Emperor Palpatine. They look like Jack Kevorkian, like the evil that they, how do I say it? That they embrace, that they invite into their heart and into their minds and all this sort of stuff. Then it like there's a weird loop or something, this energy vortex around them, and they start looking like I said, Jack Kevorkian or something. So let's see what else we got here. Any other lies? We want to, let's see. U.S. now boasts more manufacturing jobs than at any point during Trump. Oh, so once again, we're just going to like go to the COVID quote unquote pandemic, and we're going to blame President Trump for jobs lost during the pandemic. Yeah, you're so honest, dude. I can't take it. New Jersey, of course. Whatever. So, hey, is Captain Cummings still here? I heard through the grapevine, it was put on my my radar that our names came up on a very large live stream over the past 48 hours. And the only thing that I will say is I find it very interesting that people that said they wanted nothing to do with me and nothing to do with Captain Cummings continue to bring our names up over and over and over again. So it's like they want to erase history, but they don't want to erase history. And that's the thing, is you can't change history. You cannot deny the track record that I currently have at Iconic Comics and the books that I've released. And you can't stop constant content creation. So very, very interesting. I just find it interesting that people were like, Doug, Captain Cummings, we don't like you. We don't want you to have anything to do with us. And then we were like, okay, bye. See you later. We're going to go do our own thing. All right. No harm, no foul. Go in our own way. Go our separate ways. And then constantly on a regular basis, they gotta try and bring us up. But every time you bring up Captain Cummings, every time you bring up me, my name, there is a percentage of people that then look into the history and they're like, hey, this Doug guy, he's got a really good track record with his books. He's doing a lot of good stuff. Oh, this Captain Cummings guy, he actually, yeah, he was right about a whole lot of stuff. It seemed like he was telling the truth about a lot of things. So, yeah. So anyway, I invite people, if they want to keep bringing my name up over and over again, it only puts a spotlight on the track record of Iconic Comics, and it puts a spotlight on the fact that all the things that I said I wanted an indie comics company to be about, it's what Iconic Comics is doing. It's what Timothy Lim and Mark Pellegrini are doing, and all the other creators at Iconic, in terms of getting solid storytelling and beautiful art to happy people at a fair price. And going back to Solid Halon earlier, offering these books in various formats. If you like digital, you got digital. If you want the soft cover, we're getting soft covers to you. If you want hardcover books, we're getting the hardcover books to you. If you want merchandise, we're getting merchandise to you. It's right at the Iconic Comics website. You can get it, and there's specials. There's usually the Cyber Monday, the Black Friday sales the past couple years. I'm sure that will continue to go on. So, yeah. Anyway, every time somebody lets me know that I was, they're like, hey, I heard you were brought up once again on these live streams. I just kind of laugh, because I'm like, yeah, that's more attention for Iconic Comics. So, and I'm very happy with what Tim and Mark and Matt Weldon and Eric Canetti and Sven with Butch Killigan. That's been getting really, really good reviews. The people that read that, Matt Weldon with Punchline, those books. I'm really happy with the reception by readers to the books that are offered by Iconic Comics. Alejandro Mirabal's Long Harbor. You just keep going down the list. Anyway, I think that's about it for now. Talked for close to an hour, but I'm out of stories that Stallone is trending. I will check out Stallone. Maybe he put out a statement on Carl Weathers. Again, if you're just tuning in, Carl Weathers passed either last night or today or very, recently. And Rest in peace, Carl Weathers. Let's see. Stallone is trending. I don't know if Sly will put out a statement. I'm assuming he will at some point in time. But yeah, it's a sad day, man. Carl Weathers. We will miss you, man. Thank you for bringing the world Apollo Creed, and thank you for bringing the world Dylan. And I haven't watched The Mandalorian, so I'm not into that, but I know that the character Grief Karga or whatever, I'm sorry if I mispronounced the name, but I know he was popular on The Mandalorian. Captain Cummings, I know you've mentioned Happy Gilmore Chubbs, Action Jackson. Again, Apollo is my guy. Rest in peace. Pray for the repose of the soul of Carl Weathers. Apparently died peacefully in his sleep. So it's a pretty good way to go. And thanks again for everything, Carl. Really appreciate it, man. Anyway, thanks again to everybody for tuning in. I appreciate it. I will try and come back next week with some more political stories. Hopefully some more Soulfinder updates. Maybe some Iconic Comics updates. Who knows? Let's see. Captain Cummings bringing me up for no reason. Makes no sense. Besides, I don't have an audience to say anything back. Yeah, that's the other thing. It's like, let's poison the well against this guy. And if he, if he says one thing back to us, then we're going to spend a half an hour to an hour ranting about him, even though we have this gigantic, bully pulpit from which to speak. But we know that people will just in mass, just agree with whatever we say about the guy. So you got to get your 2 minutes hate in and make sure it's about Captain Cummings. Let's see. AL, they are... thanks for tuning in again, AL. They are relying too much that their fan base is too lazy to check out the truth. Yeah. So, again, thanks again for tuning in. Appreciate it. And I will talk to all of you again. Talk to you all again soon. See ya.